So who is this?
This is Queen Nzinga. She was the 17th century warrior queen of the Ndongo and Matamba kingdoms, which is modern-day Angola. She was born in 1583 and had two sisters, Makambu and Kifunjin Bandi, and a half-brother named Mbandi.
Talking about exactly 12 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, right here again on a wonderful, as it is referred to as a wonderful Wednesday evening, the 25th day of July. Keep saying January. 25th day of July specifically. How interesting of a day it is. And of course, you know, even as I said earlier, according to some science, some sciences and scientists, some of the sciences that we have evolved from, this would be a new beginning or a new cycle or a new year, even as it relates to the ancient Kemetic tradition. Okay, now you're definitely in the shock of the hour, the mystic vibration, of course. I, Honorable Priest Kidemi Shalom Isaac, here with you. This is Radio Anu, radioanu.com, the international flavor, the universal spice. If you are not a subscriber, of course, this is the time for you to subscribe. Remember, once again, we just released the second of our video lecture, which is from the Pisces age to the Aquarius age. If you have not received the copy as yet, well, I guess it's just up to you. So anyway, what are we going to speak about tonight? That is
on a 2-hour Dateline Sunday, he claims he can cure the sick. Critics say the only miracle may be the millions he's making.
It's time to begin telling the truth.
Pastor Benny Hinn, calling down miracles and raising millions, he says, for God's work. But what happens to people who believed they were healed? And what happens to some of those donations? Ministry documents and inside sources tell us about shopping sprees, private jets, and luxurious living. And what does Pastor Benny Hinn say?
Why will you not audit and publicly release your finances? Though Hinn refuses to make his financial information public, he has said that every dollar given to his ministry goes to the work of the Lord. Be that as it may, Benny Hinn does manage to live very well. His home is this mansion overlooking the Pacific Ocean, built and paid for by his ministry. According to building records, it has 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and more than 7,000 square feet of living space. The ministry told us the mansion was its parsonage and a good investment. According to area realtors today, it's worth about $10 million. And when Hinn goes to crusades around the world, he travels in this private jet. According to documents we obtained, the ministry pays more than $112,000 a month to use the plane. And closer to home, Pastor Benny still travels in style. This photo obtained by Dateline shows him getting out of a Mercedes SUV, and here he is driving a Mercedes convertible. Both cars retail for about $80,000. We've received new information from deep inside the Hinn organization, and others have come forward to tell us that we only scratched the surface when it comes to Benny Hinn, his money, and his miracles. Listen to what this former Hinn insider says.
Okay, before we go to this former Hinn insider, once again, this is the shock of the hour, the mystic vibration. And what we'll be doing tonight, we'll be just hating on Benny Hinn. No, that's not what we're doing. No. We're loving on our people. And, you know, to be very honest, I don't like to do anything as if it's a mockery to anyone, no matter who it is. No matter who it is, it could be the Satan of the devil of the demon himself, from the pitters of the pit of hell. If I'm going to attack him or her, I'm attacking. I don't really attack with comedy. Some people may, nothing wrong with that. But I ain't not, as the R says, I ain't no joke. You know, so I don't attack with comedy. I don't try to make fun of people. And this whole exposed thing. I mean, if somebody is exposed, I mean, these people, they're exposed already. Benny Hinn is exposed already. Whoever have not acknowledged his exposure, just blatantly blind. So there's a reason why this is taking place here tonight under shock of the hour. You know, because to be very honest, in the realms of information, inspiration, and liberation of our people, you would believe that it would be better for us to have a conversation talking about something scientific, something geographic, something geological, something historical. We just came off of news briefing and commentary talking about the water, the lake of water they found under the solar pole, not the solar pole, the south pole of the planet Mars, some 1 mile deep. I mean, so there are a lot of things to discuss. Why are we discussing Benny Hinn? Now, for those who don't know Benny Hinn, when we were growing up, we used to see Benny Hinn on the television. He's a fella that was born in India, well, Pakistan really, and he has become one of the more renowned tele-evangelists, and for sure one of the tops, if not the tops, when it comes to miracle working. They ain't got nobody better than Benny Hinn, you know, man. Benny Hinn, you never see Benny Hinn, man? Benny Hinn do not, I show your grandmother to watch them kind of thing. Benny Hinn do not play around, you know. I mean, Benny Hinn, I mean, these fellas today, T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen and Creflo Dollar and whatever become a Creflo Dollar, by the way. And, you know, and all these other people there, Pat Robertson, all of these individuals, when it comes to drawing a crowd, I think Benny Hinn is the Picasso of the scene, eh? You get it? Draw the crowd anyway. When it comes to pulling the people there, you know what I mean? It's like couple Stings and a SummerSlam mixed up into one, and maybe the NBA Finals, and it's like it's an Olympic event when you see Benny Hinn draw a crowd, massive stadium, and this is it now. When Benny Hinn is on stage, he calling for the cripple, he calling for the blind, he calling for the deaf, he calling for who have headache. You know what I mean? Since they were 13 and right now they're 43. He calling for, you know, the depressed. He calling for all sorts of people. And you know he healing them. He making them drop their crutches. He making the deaf hear who couldn't hear before. The dumb who couldn't speak start to speak right on stage when Benny Hinn performing his miracles. And Benny Hinn tough in a man. Here with Benny Hinn, he have this power when he just raise his hand and push back the wind, and you see a sea of people just fall down every night. I mean, it's a show. If you go to a Benny Hinn concert, concert, it's a real concert. If you go to a Benny Hinn preaching session and you don't see at least 50 people faint, I mean, it's as if that's not what you came for. You came to see people fall down, so you hold you on the head and say, oh, and people drop down. all the time. For Benny Hinn, you will see. So he's known for that. Now, what we are presenting here to the people as what people call playing, what we're playing then, but we know we ain't playing. But what we're presenting here, as I said, playing for the people, is actually a news broadcast, a news program, pardon me. Dateline, the world famous Dateline from NBC. This is a Dateline from a few years ago. So they're the ones speaking about Benny Hinn. And now they're going to have a little interview. They're going to give you snippets of the interview they did with an Hinn insider. But before we go inside to hear what the insider is saying, there are different interviews that have been done with Benny Hinn's nephew, who is also a pastor. I don't know if he's hating on Uncle Benny, but the thing is now, he used to roll with Benny. And he's showing you that, listen, man, these people here, they spend enough money, as what was just being said a while ago. A lot of expenses, basically coming from the congregation. So the man collecting heavy from the congregation, heavy. They must be collecting millions per night. Every time they have a jam session. So his nephew is not too pleased with him. His nephew's cut ties with him. But outside of that, the miracles now, touching people and they falling down. They have many people that say that they positioned themselves to go to Benny Hinn when he said, please come up. And bodyguards will hold you and wrestle you and throw you at the back of the line, because it is a chosen set of people. They already choose. It's actors who will come up, that's what people say, and make Benny Hinn touch them and they faint. He never miss, He never touch nobody head and say, fall down. Boy, Benny, it's not working tonight. No, because everybody he touch and blow on and breath must be bad. And they faint in front of him is somebody that is paid off. This is what many people, even people that are insiders, have said. So, if all of this is true, again, what's the importance of this? A lot of these mega preachers are frauds. This is what many of us tend to believe. A lot of them are individuals that, come and, basically pimp the people and rob the people and take collections and, do more than just fix the pew and the roof. Luxury jets and luxury yachts. So why are you still bringing it out? Because many of our aunts, some of our mothers, and even a few of our fathers and brothers and sisters not only send money for these people every month and every week, You ever see them on TV and bawling for money? They don't just send them money every month and every week. There are people right here in Antigua that have children, and they literally will their house and land to people like Benny Hinn before they give their own son and daughter the house and the land. So that is serious. That is nothing to play around with. So let us just continue, hear what the insiders say, and add to this
There was
discussion.
never one complete record that would suit the criteria for a documented miracle healing, and that troubled me deeply.
You hear that? There was not one record of anything that would fit the criteria for an authentic miracle healing. The man, I just explained to you, if he's not throwing down at least 50 people per night, nothing going on in there. And I mean, sometimes it's thousands. I see the man raise his hand like Moses already. And half the stadium, people in the front just drop down and falling on people in the back. And then you have other people that have reported now. When you see the news reporter come and say, My brother, how was that experience? I saw you fell on the floor. I didn't fall on the floor. This fell in front of me, pushed me down. You know, this is serious. But anyway, let's hear what the inside is saying.
Former Hinn insider says.
Yeah, that's
There
what I
was
said.
never one complete record
Listen.
that would suit the criteria for a documented miracle healing. And that troubled me deeply. To me, this was a fraud and
It is.
deception being put across the people that are his donors.
And something else came our way since our first report. Hundreds of pages of ministry expense documents. A look at these documents shows that while he's on
No,
ministry...
before I go on the expense documents, because I see these as this is one thing, but it's two separate issues here. Let us deal with the miracles. Hear what the insider clearly said. Even his bodyguard and so came out clearly showing that all of the miracles, that's what he's saying, you know. Remember, he witnessed thousands upon thousands of quote-unquote miracles, you know, and he's saying that what troubled him is that all that he's seen being with Benny Hinn, there is not one, all these old ladies that drop their crutches and jump out of wheelchair, he's saying night after night after night after night, and he's saying not one of these miracles, not one, can be verified as an authentic miracle. Okay, sounds serious to me.
business. Hinn stays in luxury hotel rooms.
Okay,
At this crusade in Milwaukee, the documents indicate Benny Hinn occupied the presidential suite of the Pfister Hotel. The hotel told us the room cost $990 a night. At a crusade in
$990 a night, you know, and I guess that was then United States currency a night. Okay.
Panama, the documents show, and we verified
This
with
is
the
Panama,
Intercontinental Hotel, that Hinn was in
Panama, room 2504. Listen to this, and this is NBC Dateline. You know. This is the mystic vibration shock of the hour, yes. But what you're listening to here now is NBC Dateline. Okay, room 2504, Panama City. How much for that now a night?
the Royal Suite.
Oh,
The
I'm
published
sorry, the Royal Suite.
rate, $1,700 a night. At a
$1,700 a night, $1,700 per night. Okay.
crusade in Montreal, we verified Pastor Benny was ensconced in the Royal Suite of the St. James Hotel.
Okay.
The regular rate there, $2,700 a night.
Okay.
The room is as big as an average house, 2,200 square feet, including a makeup room, dressing room, and a piano that plays by itself.
Interesting.
And we found some other trips that seem to have little to do with spreading the word of God. This member of Hinn's security team, who we'll call Steve, and whose appearance and voice we've disguised, says he traveled with Pastor Benny and personally escorted him on shopping excursions.
Okay, let's hear what his bodyguard Steve has to say. Doesn't sound like Steve is going to be guarding his body right now, but let's hear.
According to Steve and other ministry sources, Hinn is a regular at Beverly Hills clothing stores.
No, keep in mind, this is NBC Dateline. They won't lie, you know.
Versace, Louis Vuitton, and Bijan, where Hinn's name is on the window along with princes and heads of state. But there are questions
Versace.
raised by some of the purchases we found in those expense documents.
Louis Vuitton.
For example, in just over 4 weeks in 2003, we found 6 separate charges at high-end clothing stores, totaling more than $6,000, all charged on the ministry's corporate card.
Okay.
The ministry told us that every single trip made by Pastor Benny is approved by his executive board. But we were intrigued by what appear to be stops made by Pastor Benny at resorts and spas around the world on his way to and from crusades. The ministry called these stops layovers. Now, for most of us travelers, a layover means long hours waiting for a connection in an unfamiliar airport, maybe an overnight stay at a low-rent hotel. But remember, Pastor Benny travels in the ministry's private jet and sets his own schedule. So consider Benny Hinn's version of a layover. On his way home to California from this crusade in Colombia, the documents show, and the hotel confirmed for us, Pastor Benny stopped at this resort in Cancun, Mexico.
Okay.
He stayed in the presidential suite there.
Room
It cost the
90.
ministry $2,684 for one night.
01.
The trip was described as a layover.
Right now.
After crusades in Russia and Sweden in July of 2003, Pastor Benny apparently didn't get on his private jet, fly west, and go home. Instead, he flew from Sweden south to Italy, then back north to England, with an entourage that included his son, his daughter, and her fiancé. There were expensive meals, like this one for more than $900 in Italy, and one at this Lebanese restaurant in London for more than $1,700. And check out these hotel bills. In Italy, transportation charges of more than $6,000.
Okay.
In London, another $6,000 for incidentals, such as chauffeur services and in-room tea. The documents also list tips. In 3 days, more than $4,500 worth, including a
Okay, hold on. Obviously, somebody at NBC did their research. They're going in, man. Wow.
$1,000 to a concierge and another $1,000 to a desk manager. And then there were Pastor Benny's hotel rooms. In London, the documents show, Hinn stayed at the exclusive Lanesborough Hotel. The hotel confirmed for us it was Suite 210 and told us that they never discount rooms. The going rate, the hotel says, more than $3,000 a night.
Wow.
And then there was Pastor Benny's hotel room in Milan. According to the expense documents, room 1001. The hotel confirmed it's the presidential suite. The hotel website says the room is fit for a prince and the largest hotel suite in Europe. Among its 5,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, a formal dining room, a fireplace, a jacuzzi, a sauna, a Turkish bath, a large terrace with a panoramic
give us
view of
the
the
bill.
city, and a 100-foot-long swimming pool decorated with marble and frescoes. The hotel told us this room rents for more than $10,000 a night.
Okay.
No discounts. In its email to us, the ministry said that Hinn uses a private jet for security reasons, and that it's often necessary to make layovers to refuel his plane, and for the pilots to rest. Not surprisingly, Hinn critic Ole Anthony has a different view.
Let us hear Ole Anthony now.
It's just a lifestyle. He believes he deserves it. His board of directors says it's okay. So what are you going to do?
And when they rationalize it by saying, after all, he's the head of a $100 million a year organization.
It has nothing to do with it. You're called to be a servant, a bondservant of Christ, not to live like a king.
According to the documents we obtained and ministry insiders, there is also a great deal of cash going out. According to these receipts...
Okay, hold on. Let's not go into any more receipts there. All right. Let us see if we can bring some sense to all of this now. All right. So, basically, we have laid the foundation. And one of the things I said earlier is basically one of the main points that I'm sticking on. Now, I'm going to say a few things here that I'm very sure that listeners either may not understand, and for the lack of the understanding, no disrespect. I mean, we all may lack understanding on different things, but the way we have been cultured, and sometimes the cold turkey effect is so harsh that we miss the essence of what we should be as people. So I'm just saying that again, I've witnessed for myself. This ain't no question and I'm asking anyone. Those, you would say, grown individual elders who were touched by, even from the Billy Graham days and Jim and Tammy and these people, and touched by the T.D. Jakes and touched by whoever else comes along and inspires. And they have taken their possession, again, their land. Land is something you pass on from generation to generation. Their houses, same thing. They have people that live in certain countries that cannot buy land. It doesn't have nothing to do with the amount of money. It's just that in certain places and certain parts of the country, you just don't sell land. You gotta rent the flat and rent the whatever it is, the apartment, and you just can't own nothing here. You know, people have to come together and buy a building and all sorts of weird things. But I'm showing you that some of our old people, they were so caught up with people like Benny Hinn that they would take their prized possession, and instead of giving it to the generations to come, they give it to these evangelists. I know this for a fact. I just ain't calling names. And I don't mean they have so much that they could pinch something, you know. They give it all to these people here, Benny Hinn and others, who have people fainting nightly by the scores, sometimes by the hundreds. In a night, people fainting and dropping down. There's a video, you should check it on YouTube, where Benny Hinn said, it's right there, ain't no Saturday night comedy live, nothing, it's live. Benny Hinn had about a dozen pastors on stage, and he told them to line up, and if I'm not mistaken, those from Brazil was in front. He said, you from Brazil, you come, and somebody else come after him, and they lined up. And Benny Hinn said that Jesus is right there. Nobody was there, you know, just a space. He told people that was leaning on the stage, dress back. So it created this empty space on the stage, and Benny Hinn swear that Jesus is right there standing up. What a real comic show. And one by one, the pastors walked forward to the empty space and they dropped down. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. They were a set of bad actors. The falls looked so fake. But they all fell down on the ground, and they shook and fell down because of the presence of the empty space where Jesus was supposed to be standing up. That's the same Benny Hinn. That our people would take their possession, lands that they may have bought, or even lands that may have been passed down to them, and go to a lawyer and create a new title deed or whatever, and put people's name like Benny Hinn and his ministry on it, and leave their offspring without that. Now let me be clear. I know somebody may be trying to calculate. I'm not speaking of myself. I've never, you know, but I would admit for sure that my own beloved mommy, you know, she was definitely a lover of these evangelists, and she would make sure, she sent whatever she could send for them when the time was available for her to do that. You know? All right. Now, what I'm saying is this, my young children as well, you know, this is a very mystic situation, because I wouldn't say argue, but I would wrestle in conversation with people who believe that this man is the prime minister, this man is the minister of this and that, you know, and people believe you have such a high position that you should be living like the rest people. Now, I totally disagree with that. That's me. I totally disagree with that. I'm going to give you an example. Look at the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. Now, Minister Farrakhan, from the teachings he got from Elijah Muhammad, and how Elijah Muhammad himself, I would use Minister Farrakhan because most people are familiar with him, but this goes beyond him. Elijah Muhammad, what he learned from Marcus Messiah Garvey, shows that the head of the organization always moves with his security. You see what I'm saying? Even some of the security have security as well. So your chief of security actually have two security that's securing him, watching him while he watching you, and taking care of all the logistics, or whatever you may refer to it as, to make sure the prime man is secure. Listen to me good. In war, it's like a game of chess. In war, if you kill the king, more than likely you have won the war. So most people try to take out the head. Instead of shooting all these little pawns, blah, 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 blah. Get the head. From you can take down the head of the battle, the general. Then the sheep shall scatter, because the shepherd has been smitten. You smite the shepherd. So I'm saying that a king of a country is the shepherd. A president or prime minister is the shepherd. Now, once they are genuine, meaning that they're not no thief, they're not no whoremonger, they're not trying to gather wealth for themselves. Once they're genuinely doing the position that people voted them into, or people allowed them to go into, or even if they inherited it through some sort of bloodline, once they are genuinely a good king, a good president, a good prime minister, or whatever, or any minister of government, they specifically should have certain things attributed to them to make sure that they can do the work properly for the rest of us. So if you feel it's okay for you to grab your briefcase in the morning and go and jump on the A train and go downtown and then jump off and catch a taxi and then jump off of that and go up the elevator to go to work, that's okay with you. But you don't expect the king to move like that. You don't expect the king to be catching no train. The king should not even be catching no regular plane. In reality, a real king that is governing a real country and literally doing his work properly, he should have his own private jet, of course. It only makes sense not because he loves to be fancy, you know, but because of the responsibility that is upon him or her. That is what these things are for. But we think a lot of these things are bling. Obviously they're bling. Diamond ring and all of that thing is bling, you know, and the pretty clothes and all of that is bling. But at the same time, and that is what we're lacking as a people, you know. We as a people, black people specifically, we don't respect one another. I positively am sure of that. So that is why when messiahs rise up amongst us, we like to say, oh, who do he think he is? We're all the same. We like to talk that all the same thing. We're all, none of us better than none and all of that. What do you mean none of us better than none? Pass the basketball, let us go on the court and shoot some hoops. By the time we're done, somebody can judge and say, hey, he's a better player than you. So don't be telling me none of us better than none. You understand? Whitney Houston can sing better than Miss Piggy. You can't tell me none of us better than none. So where it counts, I mean, we're all human beings, X, Y, Z. But some can do better things or do things better than some people. And when you roll it all together, there's some of us that excel. But we don't like that. We don't like to, some of us we can see with our eyes in a man that the Messiah is amongst us, that the Christ is amongst us, that the prophet is amongst us, that the seer is amongst us, that the king is amongst us, that the liberator is amongst us, that he must be the teacher, he got to be the philosopher. This man is the mystic we've been waiting for all the time. Or he's the man that can build the city. Or this one over here for sure, she's the one that has the ability to run the business. But we don't want to see all of that. We pretend all of us are the same. And we're going to lose if we continue to think like that as a people. So I'm showing now, even to my youths that are right here with me, you know, for an understanding of us, even within your scripture. Because people like Benny Hinn and these other preachers now, obviously, it is the Bible that they use to move the people to give them so much money. Now, I would assume, listen to me good. If Mr. Benny Hinn with all these people that are around him, is genuinely doing what he's doing. Now, first of all, his philosophy ain't correct. The Jesus stuff, and that it's not correct. I mean, we know that, and to be honest, I believe he knows that too. All right. But one could be genuine in their wrong. Is he genuine in his wrong, or is he literally a wolf, a con man, and a pimp? Most people believe that he is the latter, a con man, a pimp, and a wolf. Right. So they use the Bible, and they use specific scriptures, because most Christians that give money outside of the collection, and even the collection, they would tell you that they are what? Planting a seed. Ask Granny why she do that. She's planting a seed. And this is what the preacher preach. Because the Bible says that, that you're planting a seed when you give your money, your 10%, and that's what tithe means. When it says you should pay your tithe, tithe is a word that means 10%. You're supposed to give 10% of what you earn to the church. And it's for different reasons. We use the excuse and say it's for the upkeep of the church, but in what way and what fashion? Because although these criminal people like Benny Hinn use the Bible to verify what they say, in reality, the Bible does speak of this. Look at the situation with the children of Israel and the high priests, the Levites, which are the priests. Do you know, if you're not of the Levite, if you're not of the priestly class, when you reap your crop, you reap corn, you reap strawberry, you reap what else you eat? Some bananas, you reap your pineapple. Do you know you are supposed to bring the first fruit, according to the scripture, to the priest? The first fruit. Let me show us this real. That's why a lot of people, they run from Bible because they don't love principle. They can tell, oh, that's Bible, because they don't love principle, and that's a natural principle. That's nature. So what happens now? The priests now, or the Levite class, remember these are the ones that literally carry out the processional order of the Creator. So if you believe in a philosophy, whoever you may be, you have a specific philosophy that you hold on to, a religion there, some sort of way of life that you think is the true way of life. Those that literally, if you want to say, keep up that way of life, those that they call the initiators of the order of the way of life, they're supposed to be given a specific treatment from the congregation of that way of life. And this is just a natural thing. So you don't expect somebody to be guarding the tabernacle of the Lord. That's why religion gets dangerous, because everybody gonna use the same thing. You don't expect somebody to be guarding the tabernacle of the Lord. So if they have to leave the tabernacle of the Lord to go and do something else to make some money and to eat some bread, they may have to lock down the tabernacle of the Lord. So when you on your lunch break come and you want to go and say a little prayer, the tabernacle locked down. No Levite around the tabernacle to administrate for you. So that is why, while the Levite is doing that work, because their work is a serious work. Read the Bible. In the Bible, Levite does not get any possession. So all the other children of Israel get plots of land, Levi don't get no land. Levi don't get no inheritance. What's Levi's inheritance? His inheritance is the Lord, according to the Bible. But yet still, it is the duty of every working citizen in Israel to make sure that they bring not some, their first fruit. So in other words, the priests supposed to eat before the children of Israel, according to the scripture. And that's just the first fruit. A lot of us, we talk Bible, but we hold breaks when we hear things we don't like to hear. We don't like discipline. And not only the first fruit, the tithe, which is the 10%, is not the first fruit. The tithe is something else all by itself. And then you have a free will offering. You got to keep in mind, that the priest is representing the Almighty God. And let me be clear here, because people are very weird in their thought. And I don't want nobody to carry their mind anywhere and even encourage no one to think the foolishness that they may be thinking. Not because I am priest, Isaac, I am a priest of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I'm not the priest of nobody. I am a priest, one of the many priests within that specific order. Now, a priest, within different orders, especially religious orders, they have their priests. They may call them abunas, they may say bishop, they may say parson, they may say pastor, they may say imam, they may say some other thing, but it is the individuals that officiates the whole aspect of the rites and the passage and the principles, the statutes and the precepts of this order, whatever the order is. The teachers and the preachers. So that is why you're supposed to be a part of something that is the truth. This is the real essence of life, for an individual to know the Almighty. That's me. That's how I see it. The main essence of life is for you to know so-called God and to follow God. And I would say so-called, let me say it the other way. You're supposed to know the essence of life. The reason for life. Why are you here? What is your purpose? If you don't know all of that and you think you're just going to work and you're digging holes and you're climbing poles and you're fixing wires, it's nice to have a good job, but that cannot be the purpose for life. You're supposed to know the purpose for life, and the purpose for life must be found within a specific order. It cannot be no loose thing. There must be this order. That is why I am a Bobo Shanti. That is why I choose this order and this order choose me. That is why I hail Haile Selassie the First. Rastafari is he choose me. Because in my seeking, in my searching, and I already asked him to bring me to him, I see that the way of life, first of all, this identity of the Creator that we have been looking for, I pin it down to Haile Selassie. That's me. My audience may disagree. Don't feel no way. That's just you. I'm not here to fight you for that. But I pin it down to Haile Selassie. And if I have to debate, if I have to prove it, which I've done several times, if I have to write a book or give a lecture, whatever, I can do it hands down, and there ain't gonna be nobody that can refute me. Straight up. Haile Selassie. And then at the same time, there must be a specific way, an order. There must be a tradition that can be seen with eyes and understood, and you can hear it with your ears. That's King Emmanuel order. You get me? So that's why I embrace King Emmanuel order, because I will use the term for conversation's sake. Look how I just pampering it down so everybody can feel comfortable. I believe that is the creation order, Prince Emmanuel order, from the beginning of the existence of human beings. So when he said he made man in his image and likeness, that's what he's talking about. That's the order he made. You can keep the naked stuff in the garden, you can follow that all you want, but that's the image and the likeness that he created us in. So when you accept now this specific order, I'm telling you that within the orders of righteousness, You know, it is obvious that there are those that are leaders, those that rise to the occasion, not just because they're named priests. Listen, don't get confused with the terms now. I'm only using the priests because that's what the Bible say. You know, but amongst us, you can see for yourself as a good judge, again, who is the baker? And who is the security? You can see who is the teacher. You can see who is the natural priest. You can see for yourself who is the mystic. You can see who is the king. You can see who is the leader. You could see who is the individual that can govern the society. Who is the builder? Who can rise the city? Who is the businessman? We have all these different types amongst us. And not just by trade, but by spirit. We all have a unique spirit. Just like you have a unique talent and you can sing and they can dance, you have a specific spirit that existed before you came into this world. So I'm trying to show you now that in the democratic system, they vote and elect people to hold a high office, to rule over them, and to make sure that the country and the governance and the system continues to move. Well, for them to do that heavy, hard job, you as the electorate and the people of the society have to make sure that your governing body is well taken care of, straight up. So when your tax money goes towards whatever it goes towards to make sure your president and prime minister is well taken care of, some of us, we got to think, oh, well, I don't want my money to go towards Donald Trump. No, I don't mean that, man. You're in prison, you know. It's prison you're in, you know. Remember, this is slavery going on. I'm speaking of the ideal situation. That's my point. The point is that the ruler of a nation, the ruler of a country, some of these rulers, look at Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara, he cut down the salary of all the ministers. He cut their salary, number one, plus all of the luxurious cars they had, what they were driving, Mercedes Benz or something, and he brought it down to, if I'm not mistaken, Volkswagens, some simple cars. But they still drove cars. He didn't say, let us throw away our cars and ride bicycles. No, because that means, so if something broke out in the city and they have to have an emergency meeting, what? Sankara gonna jump on his bicycle and try to ride to the office as fast as he can? No. You have to have cars. You have to have a driver. Where you're gonna say, oh, he's too full of himself. Why do he need a driver? No, he need a driver. You understand? When you are of a specific state, you can't just be going on no airplane with anybody else and they feeding you airplane food and all of that. No, man, you need your own personal chef when you're of a certain standard. You need your own personal jet plane when you're of a certain standard. Why? Not because you want to live luxurious. No. No, in fact, take for example Negus and Nagas, the King of Kings, the perfect example. The King of Kings is a mountain man. The King of Kings is a hills man. That's why he retreated to the hills. But for the King of Kings to do the work that he had to do amongst us and gather the African nations together and introduce the whole concept of disarmament and to be stopping all of these different wars that were taking place in the earth, pockets of war that he went and literally counseled the both sides and ceased the fire. He has done that in Algeria, in Morocco, in the same Biafra that they speak about. They never mention how Haile Selassie I intervened into that. For him to do all of that, obviously, heavy is the head that wields the crown. That means he has a serious responsibility upon him. Do you know Haile Selassie does not open doors? Huh? Haile Selassie don't hold no doorknob and open the door. What do you mean? Haile Selassie has a man that opens his doors for him. When Haile Selassie ready to sit, he don't have to look to see if a chair there, you know. There are people that carrying chair for him, and you better make sure the chair there and the cushion set, and when he rises his foot, the cushion come under his feet and he rests down, and he not looking at you. He's still talking to whoever he's speaking to. What's my point there? My point is that his status is so dignified. That's what royalty is about. It's not show off. It's not how much diamonds you have. It's not how much money you have. It's not how much slaves you have. It's not the biggest car. None of these things. It's because of your responsibility, which passed down to you through your ancestors or the people that voted you in the democracy. Whatever it is, you've been put into a position of responsibility. So you are so responsible for these millions of people that you can't even lift your own bag. Your hands must always be free. These people of that status, they don't touch money and count money and all of that. People have to do that for them. Even though King Solomon, I'm sure, was the top chef in his time, but he ain't cooking no food for himself. Maybe, he took a little hour off sometime and cook his own food. But the business of running the kingdom is so important that free time is important, key, necessary. And not only that, the surroundings must be pristine. That's why royal people have people waiting on them with food and everything in hand, and water just standing by even though you don't want none. And the phone ringing and they bring the phone on a platter. And in some cases, somebody lift up the phone for you and put it at your ear. And you may say, wow, they're overdoing. No, they're not overdoing. I say they have 100 million people to take care of. And who not striking, and who out of work. And they have to go and visit this and that in the hospital. There's so many things to do that while they're talking to you on the phone, they say, hold on. Sarah, take this note here for me. Write it yourself, you see? Can't write it no self. Got to have somebody to take the notes. Got to have somebody to open the door. So the point I'm making is some of us, even us as black people, that sort of standards, we at least have to keep it in our mind. Because when we are on the battlefield now, it's very easy. Remember, the enemy we're dealing with, they understand principle. They know who is the general, even though we don't know. They know who is the general. But we're all the same, that our generals out here don't have no security. Oh, that's why they killed Dr. Sebi. Where was his security? And then all of us were on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, I love Dr. Sebi. Stop lying. Where was his security? Dr. Sebi, I talking about. So those who we feel that some of us, we just talk too much. So back to Benny Hinn now. Let me be straight, man. Benny Hinn is a fake. Straight up. I mean, can't go around that. That means obvious. I mean, we didn't do those foolishness. But back to Dr. Sebi now. Now, Dr. Sebi is supposed to have his own private jet. Something wrong with that? So you go say, oh, Dr. Sebi is making a lot of money now. He's left the hood. What, left what hood? Well, I know he don't live in no hood, but I'm just talking about you because he left the hood mentality. Dr. Sebi is supposed to have his private jet. Maybe he did. I don't know. I met him once, but I really don't know in detail. He's supposed to have his own private yacht. Yeah. How we end up in the hand of these people, that should have never happened. Yeah. That's why I mentioned the Nation of Islam before, and how the ministers are well guarded by the FOI, security. Not just Minister Farrakhan, all the ministers and representatives, they move like that. Yes, there are other people that move like that too, but I mean, to be honest, that great example that trickled down from Marcus Messiah Garvey in the time of the UNIA was definitely upkept by the Nation of Islam. So you would hear Minister Farrakhan say from time to time that the nice suit and the nice vehicles that he have, he said that several times. He got it from his people that love him. He said that several times. So what are we going to say now, that he's pimping the people too? Well, I know some of you say that. Some of you say that Farrakhan is a fake. Okay, well, I don't really believe that. But let us assume he is as genuine as he presents himself. Follow me. Let's assume Minister Farrakhan is as genuine as he presents himself. And all that he has done all through the years, as he presents himself, what you want to tell me? He should not be living comfortable. He should not be, his security should not be as strong as it is. He should not have several vehicles to move in, wherein sometimes the enemy don't even know which vehicle he is in. When you see the presidential procession, sometimes people guessing which car the president in. Everything well tinted down. If Minister Farrakhan was as genuine as he presents himself, you don't think he deserves a certain level of dignified living at the age of 80 plus, for all that was genuinely done, if it was so? Well, he had the Million-Man March. I don't know what happened after that. I mean, what are you talking about? Well, I just said genuinely. You understand? So this is something that we need to keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, because I personally, I see that we lack that respect for each other. And don't take that weird concept because your parents, some of our parents have been pimped strong by these talking preachers, straight up, strong. And they've used what is called the word of God to, just like a slave master, brother, to encourage behavior that is not right from the people. Because even if you are a king, obviously even the King of Kings, with all consciousness in mind, all of these extravagant bills that Benny Hinn has according to Nbc Dateline, it is obvious that there's a lot of flirting taking place there, you know. So not because you should have a private jet, you should, and it should be top class. But that don't mean you're going to put diamonds all around the wing, a diamond from every state in Africa just to prove you can put diamonds on it. No, that's going a little bit too far. That don't mean you need diamond-plated hubcaps on your BMW or whatever. You want a comfortable ride. You're the king. You're the president. You're the leader of the flock. You know, your brain cells go to work more than the rest that are using their hands, and that's just the fact, because the heavy is the head that wear the crown, and that is a fact. But you cannot overdo, you cannot go too far, man. And that is what is taking place even amongst those now who have found themselves in a position where their congregation love them to the point that the congregation makes sure that they are okay. This is a deadly thing happening here, you know. That is why I brought it out tonight. It is a serious thing in our community and worldwide. It is not just preachers pimping people. There are many different pimps in many different types of organizations, especially in religion. And what it does, listen to the moral of what I'm saying, what it does with all these crooks and all these scamps, as we like to call them, and swindlers that are around in the name of God, in the name of all kind of thing. what it does, it rips away at the fabric of the true, genuine nature of that concept that does come out of the Bible, and again, true nature of the giving. It's a natural thing. So even within scriptures, you get many scriptures like that tells you about that. The Almighty loves a hilarious giver. You know, so some of us, we would see, as King Sagaifu said in the interview we did, we would literally see our neighbor hungry and don't give them something to eat. Well, trust me, I could never do that. I could never do that. If my neighbor is hungry, it's just maybe because I don't know. But how could you witness knowing that, hey, that they don't have nothing to eat tonight, you know, and you do not make sure you cook for both you and the hungry? So that's it. That's the mentality we need to have. That we, you know, for example, some of us just want to, you know, get along. That's why when I'm amongst people and I speak, I say, look, brothers, we got to be millionaires. People like you're thinking too big. If you do not think like that, you are a selfish person. I don't see nothing wrong in having a palace with 20 bedrooms. But me and my family can't live in 20 bedrooms though. So for you to have a palace with 20 bedrooms and you know there are people that don't have nowhere to sleep, now that's a different thing altogether. Or I don't want to live with nobody, but come out to the palace and give it to them. Yeah, make it a home for the homeless then and go and build something else. You don't have to have all them rooms. The 2 and 3 rooms for everyone, have a room and be comfortable, you know, there it is. So this is very key, my brothers and sisters. This message is very important, and I think that it is also very timely. Because again, if it's taken the wrong way, it can rip away at the fabric of something that is not only natural, but is also ordained by the Almighty, which is that loving spirit that I think many of us are now lacking, and lacking tremendously. You understand? So even the ones that sow their seeds now, listen, let's be honest, a lot of Christians give their first fruit and give their tithes and send money to these preachers because they honestly believe in their heart that they are sowing a seed. Do you know what happens when you sow a seed? Germination, and a plant grows. So they honestly believe, because that's what the preacher says. Send me $10. I hear Benny Hinn say that already. You know? Benny Hinn say, I hear this already live, not no rerun. Benny Hinn said that there are 10 people out there. The Lord is talking to me, and there are 10 people out there right now that's supposed to send me $10,000 a piece. I said, now listen to that. Wow. Call, and they have to call in 10 minutes. Now you know that more than 10 people call, maybe 10,000 people call with the $10,000. I see Benny Hinn himself, he personally said that already, live, that you have 10 minutes to call him. And it's 10 people he see, knowing that it's more than 10 people that are going to call. He never said the first 10 people, we're going to cut it off. He just say, call in 10 minutes. And you're going to pledge $10,000. So he telling you exactly what's going on. He demanding it. Now, what I'm saying, those of us that looking on and say, well, I ain't got a 10,000 to send to him, but you send your 10, you send your 100, you send your 500, and you send your thousands. And I'm showing you, my people, that most people that do that, they actually believe in their heart that they're going to give him the money, and the Almighty is going to open heavens and bless them with more money. That's the teaching. You give us this amount and you'll get that amount. Man, I hear them say that. I hear the same Benny Hinn say that. If you give 100, you're going to get 1,000 in 2 months. If you give 1,000, you're going to get either 100,000, something like that. Them man working max on you too, telling you exactly what you're gonna get. Now my point is this. So just suppose you were not planting a seed, meaning that you're giving that money but don't look for nothing in return. Would you still give it? And I'm sure even Christians would consider like, well, maybe not. So to be honest, that is also a selfish giving. Because you're supposed to give unto, quote unquote, the man of God. Not looking for, it's not lottery or bingo you're playing. You're not trying to hit the number. That's what they have it as if you are gambling. So you're sending 20 because you're getting back 200 and all of that. That's gambling. You are supposed to give to the man of God. Even if you think it's Benny Hinn, if you have been hypnotized to believe that, I don't know how that happened to you, but from the genuineness of your heart, you're supposed to say, I give in this. Not because I'm looking back for anything, but that man there is the man that has the word, the man that have the liberation power, the man that is continuing the salvation of the gospel, the man that is healing people, the man that is uplifting and raising the dead. He is the one that has the truth, whatever it is. In the same way as the president, in the same way as the king, in the same way as the prime minister, in the same way as the ministers of government. Some of these ministers, they don't pay electrical bills, And some of them, they get free gas and all of these different things. Now, I'll tell you, depending on the situation of the governance and the country, these are things to consider and reconsider, straight up. But when you have people like, for example, Thomas Sankara, who cut the pay of his ministers, and some upful leaders in the past that sacrificed themselves even not to take a pay. All they want is a nice place to live. All they want is that their rent is paid, their light bill paid, their car paid, their gas and their food. They don't want no payment otherwise. And they're not stealing the people's money. Don't you think that they deserve that? Even if they take a stipend for their payment, not no big check, don't you believe that as the leader of the country, who even already make a sacrifice to cut his pay, that he should get all the other modernity of life to make sure that he can keep his head straight? Why should he be, as a leader, you're the prime minister and you have, oh boy, the toilet not flushing today. That shouldn't be on your mind. And you're going to call the plumber and the pipe cut off. Come on, man. No, because this is a war. This is a battlefield. This is a battle zone. Now remember, this is Priest Isaac speaking. And it's because of the love. Remember, I talking to my children too, but I talking to an audience. I don't know who I'm talking to outside of them. But as I said when I began this, I didn't begin this to mock Benny Hinn. I don't have no time for that. You don't know Benny Hinn, you know the rest of them. I don't have no time for that. I wanted to highlight, especially to those who may be Christian minded. You gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful of how what you deal with as it relates to your finance and to these people that are supposedly the apostles of God all over the world, making their millions and have people fainting and making the deaf hear supposedly and the blind see. You need to investigate this truth properly. Don't be giving away your possessions that you could pass down to the generations. I've seen that, and to me, it's heartbreaking to see that you will take your possession, land and house, and sign it over to these people here, who I'm sure just maybe sell it back to the first buyer and put the money in their kitty. And your children now, specifically, who could have received that, have nothing because of that. I've seen that with my eyes. So as a people, we need to get out of that, man. That's a part of the war. We are a people that we are really, really in the miry clay. Religion was one of the main things that got us this far in the dungeon. Religion, Christianity, one of the main things outside of the literal kidnapping that was done to us from Africa, and the whipping and lynching and beating and all of that. Before all of these things, the vaccines and the entertainment and the music, Christianity was at the beginning of our mental enslavement. Even before we could read, they're pushing that thing on us. So that's why up to this day, it is a part of the biggest pimping action that is taking place amongst our people. You think those around you that are conscious, you got to meditate how many people around you that have not waken up as yet or awoken as yet, lost in these religions, giving away when we balling for reparation, we giving our reparation to falsified philosophies. That's what I'm saying. If it was the truth, if he was really the man of the Almighty, and if he was really healing people, and if he was really saving people and their souls, and people were really falling down, in fact, you don't have to throw down nobody. But if you're a real miracle worker, and you are a genuine person at heart doing the will of God like the Levites and the high priests, of course you deserve the first fruit. And those who keep the first fruit away from you, knowing that they benefit from your word and your works, to be honest, woe be unto them. So this conversation is both bitter and sweet. And you may need to listen to it again properly. I don't even believe I would put this on the YouTube, because it takes a clear mind to comprehend and to get the message properly and to be able to sift it out properly, to understand both sides of the story. I would say enough said. Give thanks, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. What y'all say now?
Listen, about what I said about Creflo Dollar.
Creflo Dollar.
Yeah, I can remember watching Creflo Dollar a long time ago. Yeah. And his wife, Tiffany Dollar.
Oh, well, you know them well, man. All right.
I never noticed he had a wife.
Okay. Well, okay, because I was actually saying what has become of them. I haven't heard or seen them in a while, but everything is blessed. Anyway, do give thanks to the life-giver and the keeper of life, Honorable Prince Almasi and Honorable Princess Acacia Menin, as we continue to flow. As we always say, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. Go ahead.
And remember, it takes some realize that our amongst us.
Holy Emmanuel I,
On the northeastern corner of the Caribbean island chain sits the gem of the West Indies, Santa Maria de la Antigua. Antigua, renowned for its sun, sea and sand. It has also become famously known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean. Situated between the villages of Jennings, Ebenezer, and Bendel's stands Greencastle Hill, 596 feet of volcanic rocks and lemongrass. These volcanic rocks, which are too numerous to tally, naturally protrude out of the hill and are arranged to correspond to the astronomical clock, the solstices, the equinoxes, and the movements of the stars. This has been confirmed by Dr. Maura Imbert, an astroarchaeologist who conducted a study of several keystones on Greencastle Hill. I have visited Stonehenge in England and have seen for myself the methods utilized by the government and people of that nation to incorporate Stonehenge as a part of its economical development through tourism. Infrastructure has been built around the monument, parking lot, museum, and even a restaurant. And of course, thousands flock to the site during the solstices and equinoxes, and millions visit each year. If preserved, developed, and marketed properly, Greencastle Hill, the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, could attract millions as well, in numbers of persons as well as in dollars and pounds. It will provide employment as well as career opportunities for Antiguans, and it would add to the value and appreciation of Antigua internationally. Greencastle Hill has been used for decades as a site for the creation of aggregates and building materials. As it is already a national park, we as a nation should seriously consider Greencastle Hill and preserve it and utilize it, for it is our national treasure and a sacred hill. The nations and nature will applaud us for such actions. I thank you.
Alafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anno Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anno Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Greencastle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movement of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook, Anno Ancient and Modern. It is an easy to read book, may appear light, but it is extremely heavy. Yes, I love. So who is this?
This is King Akhenaten, aka Amenhotep IV. He was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh of the 18th dynasty who ruled for 17 years and disappeared perhaps in 1336 BC or 1334 BC.